So this is something a little bit different, something or a video that I've never done anything like this before, and it is going to be kind of a fly-through of the forest that we just cleared. Now, those of you who may be joining us for the first time, my wife and I, we are homesteaders in the Pacific Northwest, and we have what is called a state sanctioned stewardship forest. Meaning that we have agreed to use sustainable practices and help these forests that have been, well, they've been neglected, they've been maltreated by through various poor logging practices. There's a lot of invasive species, and it's rooting them out and it's looking after them. It's good stewardship and trying to return them to the ideal state that, well, that God intended them to be. That is a very lofty goal here, and I don't mean to condescend, but I'm just trying. Well, let's just get into the fly through here. So, this area right here, this little grove, this is on the northeastern portion of our property. This is a result, what you're seeing, of 3 days' work of my family, the three of us, and we removed approximately 125 trees. The largest being probably somewhere around maybe 100 or 22 inches, and the smallest being as little as 1 inch. Various different things. We try to really keep a diversity of species, so we were really heavy with the ponderosa pines in here. So the majority of everything that we took out was the ponderosas. I even took out some larger ponderosas to make way for seedlings that were of the Douglas fir, because we want to foster those and open it up and so that they can thrive and we can have a real diverse forest. A diverse forest is a happy forest. So I'll just get into it. So you can see that there's still probably another 4 hours worth of work in here. Boy, my mind does not work. I'm trying to watch this and talk at the same time. There's another 4 hours of work. You'll see some of the stumps are still there. We haven't limbed everything quite up to the height that we would like, but we're getting pretty close. I would say another 4 hours, and we should have everything wrapped up. But you can see, if you watch the previous videos, how dense that this particular stand was. So dense in many places that we couldn't even get through it. Full of dead and dying, sickly, weakened trees that were just not thriving because there's too many of them competing for resources, the nutrients in the soil, the water, and by and large even the sunshine. You can see here through these pondos here that there is a nice spacing between them. There's several schools of thought about what is proper forest management and what this spacing should be and all that. And you kind of have to sift through a lot of information, and you have to kind of figure out where it's coming from. If you take the local Oregon Department of Forestry or the Washington Department of Natural Resources, they have some pretty helpful guidelines to help you come up with spacing from the drip edges and what is the optimal amount of trees per acre and all on and on and on. But they're also coming from the perspective of wildland fire prevention. And a forest that is managed by ODF or DNR, oftentimes, not always, but oftentimes can look like a park and less like a forest, which is very nice. You can walk between it. You can drive vehicles between it. You can see things. It's very nice for hunting, but it isn't really representative of a classic forest. Now, on the other hand, we have the Conservation District, which also in our area provides a lot of great information, but they're very much on the don't touch and let it grow, let things grow. So for me, I've kind of taken the position of kind of a middle ground. I take the information that is suitable and what works for me from DNR or ODF, and I take information from the local conservation district, and I kind of have come up with my own forest plan. And whether or not that's the ideal, I don't know. It's just what I like. It's a balance of wildland fire prevention, diversity of species, and also that cozy factor of having a little stand of trees. That's where I got my tractor stuck. And it's worked out really well. We have some areas up on the southern stands that we have basically did this same treatment to 5 years ago, And it's just incredible. I've been watching and monitoring the diameters of the trees and the growth, and they have increased, some of them, I would estimate, by almost 50%, getting the sunshine, getting everything cleared out, less competition. And this right here, according to ODF, this is actually a little bit too tight. They don't want to see drip edges touching. The drip edges are the branches that, of course, are sticking out the furthest. If water were to run out, where would it drip off of? And I think the reason why they say that is they want to isolate the trees from fire. So if one of them ignites or torches, that the spacing is great enough that it will not, affect the following or the tree next to it. Where you can see here, obviously, there are trees that are not. The drip edges are actually intermingling. But I don't want to take that many trees out. I think it just leaves everything too sparse. And when the wind kicks up, you have issues there too, because you have trees that were depending upon, helping each other, leaning on one another. And then when you remove all of their fellows, sometimes their root systems aren't established enough to withstand, and they'll actually be pushed over. So kind of a quick overview of the forest and how it turned out. It looks really nice. So I'll take you up a little bit. We can see to the north, there's a beautiful view of Mount Fuji out in all its glory. With these lenses, the mountain really looms from our home. It's massive out the window. It doesn't really look that way from here because of the fisheye type of lens or the wide angle lens, but you get kind of a feel for it. Now let's take you up to Mrs. W's garden. We'll show you all of the chips, or what the yield was, or how much we got. We got quite a few piles, and of course you never have enough with the wood chips. And if you're wondering why we're doing the wood chipping, here we are going to the west, following the beautiful drainage. It's just so nice to have water on land. It's I think out west anyway, water is going to be the next battleground. It's going to be the next oil. It's already turning into that. Turn and head south, and you start to see the barns and the homestead up here. This is where we cross the stream. And let me fast forward you up to Mrs. W's garden. Up here to the big barn. Now, don't hate for all of the piles of mess, all of that. Brian and I this has all been generated out of cleaning up the big barn right there. All right, wave to Brian there. I guess he's seen the drone. So he is repairing some of the fence posts up front there that were taken out by the snowplow. So we'll come up here to Mrs. W's garden. And boy, this makes it easy flying the Mavic around here. And her garden is in bloom. It's doing well. And as far as garden goes, we're several weeks behind the rest of you because we're in a subalpine area, and we have a very short growing season, zone 5, and we everything starts a little bit later up there. But you can see here's our wood chips. Each one of those was a pile from the dump trailer that we rented. And man, they are looking good, look wonderful. Now, a lot of folks wondering, or telling us, you can't plant in wood chips that are brand new like that. There's too much nitrogen in the soil. Yes, we know that. We are using a back to Eden garden method, and the mulch is primarily for weed control, and it is phenomenal for that. So we grow everything in garden boxes. We don't really put anything in the ground unless Mrs. W can plant it in such abundance that they call them voles or moles that we have in our area have voracious appetites. They'll eat everything. I've actually been in the garden and seen things disappear that were planted in the ground. So right there, just started doing the field mowing. I'll have a video coming up on that with that amazing Rhino batwing mower. That thing mows, 15 feet at a time. It makes pretty short work of a big pasture like this. But, this whole lower pasture, things are going to change on the land over the next few years. That's all been planted right there that you see in front of us. It's all little seedlings of firs and cedars and pines that will be restoring that section of the homestead back to forested land originally. So now I'm trying to figure out where I'm hiding here, somewhere in the shade, so I could see the screen of the drone. And that, I guess that's pretty much going to conclude our tour of that little homestead forest stand right there. That was one of the smaller areas that we had to clear, and it was fun. It was fun, family working together and making all that happen. So that's it. Thought you might enjoy it, and we'll see you guys on the next video.